welcome. My name is Sherica Hymes, and I am the founder and the host of the Total Woman Summit. And I am so excited to have you all here with us tonight. We are smack dab in the middle of our 11 days, 26 speakers, 22 sessions in the middle of COVID-19, aka Life Interrupted. And I have been waiting on today's discussion for the last 9 days. We are talking about romance today, particularly in this segment, we're talking about COVID-19 versus marriage. And so my good friends Dorcas and Cleo Griffin have joined us tonight, and we're going to get into it. For those of you that are new to the Total Woman Summit experience, the summit was created to empower women through education, connection, and community. And in keeping with our education and community, we're talking about everything that matters to you. We've got the experts, we got the topics, we've got all the things that you guys want to talk about. And tonight, I can just tell you, because these are friends of mine, it's going to be full of shenanigans, okay, people? And we are ready for the shenanigans. So without further ado, let me introduce our guests, Dorcas and Cleo Griffin. Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey.
Sherica.
Hi, Sherica.
Hi. What is going on?
Carter is waving from the background. Doesn't appear that we're going to have any time to ourselves tonight, so I hope your viewers are ready for our family.
Absolutely. That's what this is about. It does not need to be formal. So tell Carter he can come on in here and get with us if he wants to. We are here for it. Where's Carter? Carter, for those of you all that don't know, he's the toddler. They're the pretend people in charge of the house. He is actually in full control.
This is true.
Yes, absolutely. And so we need you guys to do us a quick favor that are in our viewing audience. We need you to let us know if you can hear and see us okay. Just drop us a note in the chat. All right, they can hear and they can see us okay. We have lots of friends online. I told them, I was like, y'all session is almost booked. They are booked to capacity. Dorcas, why'd you tell me all y'all friends wanted to get on here? Because what?
They want their lives ruined, right? If they're looking for advice from us.
She said they want their lives ruined. This is foolishness, okay? So but before we get into it, let's go ahead and level set. So let me tell you guys about the rules, okay? The rules of engagement, rules 1 through 50. We're gonna have so much fun tonight. So get your tissue, get your coffee, get your beverage, we get whatever you're gonna get. We're gonna have a blast tonight. And then rules 51 through 100. We're talking to you, you're talking to us, we're talking to each other. So you don't need to wait until the end. If you have something to say, you can drop it in our Q&A. If you got questions, you can do that anonymously. You can do it boldly with your name. And if you're feeling super bold and empowered, you can drop it in the chat. And then we'll go from there because we want to address it real time. So let's get into it. So tell us a little bit about yourselves. We'll go to you, Cleo.
Sherica, thanks for the invitation. Let's see, I'm from Nashville. Living in Memphis now. Been in a nonprofit, the 901. Been in nonprofit management for about 15 years now. I guess this is my 5th year in Memphis. So yeah, I moved here in January of 2015 and really enjoying it. I've laid down roots. We've laid down roots. And so, but you know how it works. You marry a Memphis girl, you end up in Memphis, and yeah, life's good.
We're so glad to have you.
During the pandemic, life's good.
All right.
Yeah. Dorcas, what's up with you? Tell us about you.
So Dorcas Young-Griffin, born and raised a Memphian, working for Shelby County government. I've been there for the last almost 13 years. I am the director for our Division of Community Services, so work with lots of nonprofits and provide direct services for folks here in this community. I don't know what all to say.
That's fine. Listen, this is not a test. So
No.
All right, you said enough.
Always awful.
Cleo does not grind on the curve. Okay.
No.
She said she's out of here. Okay, we're sorry. Next time Dorcas will go first. So
yes.
Cleo won't outshine her like that.
I'll clean it
So,
up.
yes, absolutely. I hope y'all got y'all cups because listen, this is that kind of night. So, listen, let me tell y'all why I asked Dorcas and Cleo to do this particular segment because A, they're my friends. B, I figured they probably are experiencing probably what many of you are experiencing being at home or have the luxury of working from home because they both already told you that they're leaders at work, they're do-gooders, they're out here doing good in the community, they have jobs that allow them to serve, and we're so grateful for it. But they're leaders, so they have large teams that they're responsible for. They are working from home, so everybody's working from home in the middle of the COVID-19, even though we're phasing back in. But their unique dynamic is that they have a college student because of COVID, had to come back home early and finish school online. And then they have a toddler. We've been talking about him already, who's 3. So those are a lot of balls in the air that they're trying to juggle. They're trying to juggle leading their teams, working from home, let Carter manage them, but pretend they're managing him, trying to make sure that Alexis is doing what she got to do, and they got to try to find some time to be themselves and still try to come out of this thing with their marriage intact. So that's why I asked them, because I thought probably many of you were experiencing that. So before we talk about how they're going to come out of here, they said they're going to ruin y'all. Listen. When I asked these people to do this, let me tell you what they said. If we're going to be the experts, everybody get a divorce. These people in trouble. It's a mess out here. They have ruined credibility.
Just hanging on for dear life.
It's a mess. It's a mess, but seriously, they have great advice. They're a fun couple, and more importantly, they keep it real and they're transparent. So that's really why. So, but tell us about your love story. Tell us how you guys met each other. Hold on, we're getting some sort of weird feedback. What's happening there? Some sort of.
Let's see. Just when we start talking about the love story, can you hear us now?
We can hear you, but I think what we want to do is we want you guys, bear with us. We appreciate your grace, viewing audience. We weren't having this before. We want you to probably do one of you have your phones?
We both do.
Okay, great. So we're log out of the computer audio. Log out of the computer audio. Click on the microphone and the arrow. We're sorry. We're sorry, people. We appreciate y'all's patience.
All right, good job.
Teamwork makes the dream work. All right. So tell us about your love story. How'd you guys meet?
So I went to UT with Dorcas's younger brother Paul, and I'll keep it PG. But when you're from Nashville and you go to a state school in Tennessee, what you find out when you get there is that there is a rivalry between Nashville and Memphis that you didn't know about, and so we're playing ball, and it had immediate beef with the Memphis guys, and so but over the years we got to be good buddies, and then after college we stayed in touch. Occasionally we, Memphis guys would come to Nashville, or we would, vice versa, and then every now and again Dorcas would be around. We vibed, but it was never exactly.
No,
it wasn't like that, and so we were at a wedding.
we were.
We went to a wedding.
Yeah, that's all we need to talk about.
Does this seem to you all like Dorcas is approving every statement that comes out of Cleo mouth? Does anybody else feel like? Raise your hand if you feel
That's
like.
all right. That's how we stay together. You said how we stay together. He just lets me. He just says okay.
My comments have to be approved. But anyway, so we went to a wedding and ended up talking, like after party at Paul and Jamila's, and we ended up talking for
The whole night.
hours.
Everyone left and we were still there talking.
We didn't even notice that the party had ended. We were just talking. But even then, still not.
What were y'all talking about?
I don't even remember, just everything. I think it was the first time I ever noticed
Cleo. And I would say this, like the story is really cute, but I think that it really is evidence of just God's timing, because Cleo and I had known of each other for at least 3 or 4 years prior to having that conversation, and just never even considered dating. I remember going out with two of our folks that ended up in our wedding with Roy and Tasha.
Yep.
Remember?
Yep.
We went out, and the way to put that ketchup on Roy. Oh my God, that's a whole other story. But I remember going out and having a really good time with them, but never thought about dating. But it was like everything was perfect at that point. Just the conversation, just where we were in life. And from that day on, we've talked every day, except for a couple of days we might have not been speaking to each other,
Yeah.
at least 1 or 2 days.
We've had a couple of those.
Just a couple, just about 5 total. But
Yeah.
ever since then, I mean, it's been every day.
Yeah, Dorcas reached out the next day after that wedding.
Oh, she pursued you, Cleo. She pursued you.
Well, you Memphis cats are a little more aggressive than us Nashville folk, and so.
Whoa.
Ridiculous.
Now I understand why she's censoring what's coming out of your mouth. Okay.
Right.
It's
Right.
foolishness. It's
You have
foolishness, Cleo. Yeah.
Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
So that's cute. So that's how we got here. And then you fast forward a couple of years, and then we're in the middle of a global pandemic. So you guys both have been working from home. I know.
So mostly. So when we talk about working from home, I think what's been unique for us is that neither one of us are working from home 100%. We are working from home some, but we still have many obligations that require us to be in the office. But thankfully, we have just wonderful teams and wonderful supervisors that are allowing us to kind of do both. And we really have to, because we have a kid that has been out of school since March 6th. So, I mean, he has nowhere to go. I guess theoretically he could go to a daycare center, but at this point, it's difficult to make that decision to put him in a brand new daycare center in the middle of all that's happening in the world. So we've been balancing both. I think we naturally just we talk about what our days look like the next day and have been pretty accommodating. He goes in one day, I'll go in the next. Or either we'll split afternoons and mornings.
Yeah.
So it's worked out.
That's good. So a lot of teamwork, a lot of punting back and forth. I know early in the beginning, I remember seeing a Facebook post where both of you guys were working from home, and it looked like y'all were making the kid do some work too, Carter. He also was having
Yeah, so my man has a daily Zoom call with his classmates.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wait a minute, he's 3?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they have his teacher they still have group time every day.
Yeah.
Shout out to Miss Anna Grace at the University of Memphis Lipman School. Excellent school.
Mm-hmm.
She's the best teacher, and she has remained engaged with her class of 15 every day. So
how does that work? How does the 3-year-old do his Zoom? What does he do during it? Does he sit there?
So they get on the call each day, and it's amazing. Like, one of the things that I think we've learned about our child is that he is a lot more savvy than we ever realized. Like, he knows how to use Zoom, how to make the screen where he can see all the participants. Like, he knows how to leave the meetings. It's amazing. But they start the day. Yes, it's amazing. They start the day.
Y'all see
and, yes, if y'all can ignore him, we can. This is our life. But they start the call and do their morning song, and then the teacher has sent out a lesson plan for the whole week. So we have his items prepared, and he participates with the rest of his classmates. So, I mean, I think I really appreciate teachers more than I ever have, just because, you know, we've had to be with our child all day. But also the work that she puts in to prepare for the week has been amazing.
That is good. So kudos to Miss what's her name again?
Anna Grace.
Anna Grace.
Miss Anna Grace. Kudos to you. Hey Carter, what's going on, bud?
Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Looking just like Alexis.
That's it.
That's it. It's time. It's time for you to go get Spidey. Go
Well,
get Spidey's name.
ask this question. In the early beginning, when things were at the heights, sort of a panic with the pandemic, and everybody was like, we got to stay at home, and then the kids were coming home. That was a very difficult time, particularly also because of the nature of the work that both of you all do in the community. You said you have a lot of responsibilities. What was that like, having to come home and then having Carter be at home as well? How did you guys navigate that as a couple and parents?
I don't think we had any sort of plan. I mean, other than, you know, trying to figure out who needs to be where. I think in a lot of ways, kind of our established, undiscussed norms just kind of automatically kicked in. I know, you know, in a season like this, she's going to have heightened demands. So am I. You know, we're not going to be in the office all day, every day, like we normally would, but we're going to have to be figuring out how do we, you know, what does continuing to serve look like in this context? And so, you know, you also have a lot of people to take into consideration as well. And so it was, I think more than anything, at least in the beginning, we had to, just our emotional state was extremely fragile because the gravity of every decision was so heavy. Right. And so I think we had to, you know, we've spent a decent amount of time just doing like mental health checks with each other. Like, are you okay?
Right.
Encouraging each other to shut it down when we see the other is probably a little frayed at the edges, and you know, a few more family walks than normal. But yeah, it was you know, it was confusing. It was concerning because some of the resources that we would have were no longer at our fingertips. We had to stay away from people who needed us, right, or who could need us. And so it was, I don't know that we had we never really talked about a plan per se, but I think we just kind of defaulted to some of our,
just how we
normally get through things.
Right,
so,
right.
You know.
I think having a pretty well established foundation has gotten us through this because it has been emotionally just draining. And I think that Cleo and I we're very different, but we have very similar values. I think that's what kind of keeps us together. It's like our foundations are the same, even though how we interact and how we express ourselves is a little bit different. Foundationally, we're still very much the same.
I am from Nashville.
He's from Nashville, yes.
Cleo,
so I think our foundation has allowed us to just navigate this as well as we can.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. And I think let's unpack some of that. So you guys, first of all, said that there was no plan. I don't think any of us had a plan that we knew we were waking up one day and then for the next 30 days. And for some people, it's been as long as I think 7 weeks that we're going to go into some form of either quarantine, isolation, or physical distancing. And I know, like Dorcas, I know that you and your family are extremely close. And I say her family, not that Cleo isn't close to his family, but Dorcas's family is here. And so I know that they help out a lot with Carter. And so you guys haven't been able to really leverage. Cleo said, one of you said that you guys haven't been able to leverage your resources because you use them, right, to help to keep your marriage healthy and your sanity, right? Because now everybody's together all the time. And so what has that been like?
It's probably been more difficult for her. I mean, like you say, I normally wake up to Diane Young's voice. and I go to bed to William Young's voice.
Those are Dorcas's
Like, every day. And so it's probably been a little more difficult for Dorcas because, you know.
Because we are always in each other's mix, yeah. That's been an adjustment, but Cleo has adjusted so well. My family is pretty close. Sometimes it may be a little too much, but we don't care. She loves us anyway. But it has been hard because I am used to seeing my parents often in person. And so I think we've probably only seen them once in this whole time. Carter and I drove down there and waved from the driveway. So that's been difficult. But also just cousins, being able to play with his cousins and just having a time where we could feel like he's safely with other people that love him, and we can have some time to ourselves. We have not had that. And we've talked a lot about Carter, but the pressure of just Alexis, she was in North Carolina when things got really hairy. And fortunately, she could stay with her father for a little while, but she's home now. But just being concerned about her and just her state of mind and just, it has been, I think if you hear nothing else, we have not had a plan. We have just leaned on just our natural foundation that was established in our marriage. That the one thing I know about Cleo is that he is in this, and I am too. And so I think we've just leaned on like, well, we're going to live together, we're going to die together, and we're going to go through this pandemic together.
Y'all bad boys for life?
Bad boys for life. Pretty much. Pretty much. Yes. So
Right. Bad boys for life.
I guess that is kind of what they said.
So
Yeah.
it sounds like that's very important for couples. Like you find out what you're made of, right, in the middle of this. And you guys have talked a lot about your foundation. And can you tell us, like, what does that foundation look like?
Yeah, so it might not exactly be, I don't even know that we would express it the same way, but
Maybe not.
I think we both have a profound respect for what the other one does for a living, and knows that that makes a lot of our individual identity is wrapped up in it. A lot of the personal.
Hey, you're on the
who knows where I was there.
Yeah.
But I think what we do for a living both means a great deal to both of us. I don't think that either one of us view it as just a job. And so I think part of that foundation is just a mutual respect for what makes the other one proud in their profession and being supportive of each other in that. I think the other thing is that we, once we decided to have a family, making sure that our kids are supported and have everything that they need in order to continue to thrive. I mean, these Zoom calls for Carter in the morning, sometimes they happen when we're on conference calls.
Right.
And so, but we still have to figure out a way to prioritize that because, this isn't any more his fault than it is anybody else's. So he's got to continue to get what he needs to. And then I think Dorcas was probably at some point, if she talks about this, she's going to talk about faith and how.
Come on, baby. Come on. You know your life. You know me.
And how, we pray. So as much as I say I wake up to Diane's voice every morning before we disband and everybody goes their different directions, we pray every morning. And there are certain things that we ask for each day, and it is often kind of rooted in where are we in this season of life. Wednesday, often very different than Tuesday.
Right.
And so what do we need today as a family? What does each individual person need, in that day? And we just kind of ask for it and try to get centered around that. I don't know what you.
No, you summed it up perfectly, because I was going to talk about faith. Faith has been definitely foundational for us. I think, admittedly, this is not any secret to anyone. Like, Cleo and I have grown up very differently around faith and just where it has been, how it has been central in our lives growing up. Like, I grew up in church 10 times a week because both of my parents are pastors, and that wasn't exactly his experience. And so, you know, it has been amazing, even though our experiences growing up were different. Like, the things that center us in our faith are the same. We express them differently. We may have different practices around it, but we understand the value of faith and being centered on something that's bigger than the both of us. And I think that's the only thing that can get you through times like these.
That is so good. So when they talked about their foundation, one of the things that they talked about, a lot of flexibility, a lot of respect, a lot of mental health, checking on each other, seeing if the other one's okay, recognizing when the other one may be afraid at the end. I think it was Cleo's language. And I think that's so important that couples are going to have to make sure that they do, which is why I'm asking them, because I'm not married. So I want to make sure I stay in my single lane. And I'm asking the folks that are doing this every day. And so I just want to point out the things that they're saying that they've really had to pay particular attention to make sure everybody's getting what they need. So now, how have you guys been making sure you get what you need as a couple? Because you've talked about parenting, you've talked about leading a team, you've talked about working and serving in the community, and making sure Alexis, who just saw home from college, and we've seen Carter getting what they need and connected to family. But yeah, making sure you get what you need as a couple.
I don't know that we are.
Here's where the realness comes in. We ain't. You wanted real.
Yeah.
Like, we just trying to survive at this point. We're trying to stay alive so that we can figure it out at the end of this, whatever the end of it looks like. I think we are just in go mode to try to, again, seriously survive. So when I say survive, yes, there's a physical component of it because we are in a public health pandemic. So we have to protect ourselves, like, to the outside world, protect the people in our house physically. But then economically, like, we can't just say, you know what, we're just not going to work right now. We recognize that we are blessed to be able to continue to serve and continue to get paychecks. And right now we're being asked to step up more than we ever have before in some ways. And so we got to keep that going. And then the other things, like making sure Carter goes to a Zoom, or he's fed, or that Alexis knows that she has parents that care. So we really try to focus on the survival of our family more than we have our coupledom. And we probably, we definitely need to work on that.
Yep.
That's a place where we got to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, Carter regularly asks me if I'm going to sleep with him and Mom tonight. So, like it's his bed.
You sleep with me and Mom tonight? Like, bruh, it's not your bed.
I blame you too.
You should.
Yeah.
It's our fault.
Yeah.
It is our fault. And so we definitely are at a point, I think we recognize it, but we're also just trying to figure out how to get through all that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's emotionally overwhelming. It can be. And particularly, you hear me keep talking about the work that they do, and I do that because I want to put that in proper perspective for those of you that don't know them. They serve in community jobs, right? Like, they're responsible for organizing things or leading initiatives, them and their teams, respectfully, because they don't do it alone, that they're serving the community. And so then it's that added complexity of trying to keep their team safe and healthy and functioning, and then caring for them, and then coming home, and the weight of all of that is just, it could be so taxing. Do you guys have any concerns about your relationship coming out of this?
I don't think so, but I think it is entirely possible that whatever you become in order to get through this, there's always the opportunity that turns you into something else,
Right.
somebody else, even if temporary. And I think in any relationship, the concern is that it's always that you want to be mindful not to grow that way.
Right.
You kind of want to be growing in the same direction. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's a concern for any two people who have gone into an experience like this, where what is required of them in order to get through it might not be leading them both in the same direction. So
How are you making sure that you're going in the same direction? How are you making sure that you're going in the same direction?
Well, I think you asking that question might make us be a little more intentional about that discussion.
Right.
Thank you, Sherica.
Thank you for this free marriage
We might just
counseling.
both lay down on the couch right now.
Yeah.
Just kind of.
Okay.
I do think like we laugh about it, but I do think moments like this represent an opportunity for us to utilize resources and people to talk through things with. I am not a person that shies away from therapy, counseling, any of those things. In fact, I think that it probably, like, we get along, like we have mutual respect. This is not a fighting house. Like, we're just not argumentative people. So it's a very peaceful house. But that does not mean that we don't have issues. And so, I mean, I don't shy away from the idea of getting outside counsel, therapy. And during these times, there are resources that are free and available online virtually to do that. And so, that may be something that we need to explore, and maybe other couples that are on, maybe that's something you all can do together as well.
That's so good. And I love their transparency. I'm getting so many notes. You guys probably aren't even paying attention to the chat for the Q&A, but so many people are like, you can't see the Q&A, but you can see the chat. People are like, they love honesty. They appreciate you guys not trying to pretend that it's all perfect. And one of the things that I really love is that I had the pleasure last week in this 11-day series, we talked to your mom, and your mom was one of my featured guests talking about faith. And I asked her, how is she caring for herself? How are her and your father caring for themselves after they care for the people, because they're pastors? And she said, it hands down, it's date night and it's do not disturb. Now, clearly, their circumstances are a little bit different because all of their children are grown. And they're living their best life over there by themselves. But she said that they were having to make sure that they implemented date night. And I know that my parents, who just left my house, true story, and dropping out my Mother's Day gift, thanks parents, they the bomb, but they go on they drives. So maybe that's something you guys can try. They're like, they can't get out and do stuff, but they pick up some dinner, and she's like, they just drive it around town. They go from one end of town to the other, from downtown to Carterville, and they just drive and they talk, and it gives them a chance to get out of the house to see something different, because they are in that more susceptible population because of their age. So they're not trying to get out and mingle with people, but it just allows them to be in a car and listen to some music and be together. So maybe that's something that you guys get to do. Is just drive. And she's like, it's hands down, they don't talk about work and they don't talk about the children. I can't believe they're not talking about me, the nerve of them. But,
no, we want to get away from the children. I think those are really good suggestions. I do think one of the things that I probably could do better at that seems to make Cleo's day is to find those things that he really enjoys and do them with him. So before pre-pandemic, I went to my first golf tournament, and he loves golf, have no interest in golf. And just watching him and being there with him, I think I think he was appreciative of me participating.
Yep.
And even in this pandemic, I will say the highlight of Cleo's life right now is The Last Dance. All the men on here know what that is.
Michael
The
Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
It's my hair. Makes me
The
think
Yeah.
The other Michael.
The other Michael. And so on Sunday nights, just making sure that that everything is shut down, that Carter is asleep, and going in the living room with him and sitting and watching that with him, like that's literally a moment of connection for us. And I probably need to catch up and watch.
You're doing good.
Like,
Dorcas.
baby, Mike is on, baby.
So annoying.
The
Mike
king,
is on.
the king is on. Let's go watch. So now, Cleo, in what ways and what fun ways are you sort of connecting with Dorcas and seeing about her and making sure she's good?
Baby, the other night
How?
when you gave me the speech about
Oh,
remember that speech?
yeah. I probably haven't done anything fun. At least not that we had date night.
Wait, no, tell them about our the other night, Cinco de Mayo.
Oh gosh.
True.
True story.
We went to a birthday party. Shout out to Zoe, turned 7, 8, 9.
That's their name.
Shout out to Zoe Young, turned 9. So we did that, and then we Cinco de Mayo. We got some tacos. May or may not have had a couple margaritas. And yeah, we
played the song. We had a song battle.
Yeah.
Just the two of us.
And I won that, by the way.
No.
Even with her cheating, tell us about it. But you guys didn't go like inside the restaurant. You guys did this from home, right?
We did
Yeah.
from home. Yes,
Yep.
we did. And then we had such a good time. Like, we both love music. And so we just sat here and had a battle of, I would play a song, he would play a song, and just connected on like the things that were fun when we started dating. I think that that's important to sometimes get back to those people. I mean, clearly we've changed in 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot more responsibilities. We have grown children, a little child, a house note. But just that moment, it felt like Cleo and Dorcas from 2000.
Yeah, it felt like girlfriend, boyfriend.
It did. I liked you. You were my boyfriend.
For 45 minutes.
For 45 minutes? It was a good 45.
I just want to tell you in full transparency, she cheated. She was on Facebook getting songs from friends. It's over now. And clearly, I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But you still won, so it doesn't even matter. Her team wasn't even right. That's ridiculous. So basically, you did a makeshift home version of Versus. Y'all Swiss beats and tips.
Yeah.
Well, I have to give a shout out to my my hip hop music club. Commissioner Q Taylor wanted me to, just make sure I announced that the hip hop music club is part of how we are coping with this pandemic. So the battle that we had, the music battle, was very much in the tradition of the hip hop music club. So I just I needed to get that out there.
You need help.
Maybe.
What's your favorite hip hop song, Cleo? What is it?
Of all time?
Of all times.
Gosh, I have no idea.
He can do favorite group. I could tell you what his favorite group of all time. I know this.
What is it?
Tribe Papa.
Yes, I know you
Tribe
were
Papa.
upset when one of them passed away.
Yeah, it's serious.
Okay,
Serious.
Rip to Fife.
Okay, so now she knew yours. What's one of her favorite hip hop groups?
Oh, hip hop? Dorcas is not like heavy hip hop. I mean, listen to some.
What's her favorite? What's her favorite genre then? And who's an artist she likes?
Oh, R&B for sure. Anita Baker, Jasmine Sullivan, but she loves Michael McDonald.
She does.
Who did you talk about in our Wednesday?
Oh, the queen bee, the beehive. She's definitely part of the beehive. And so
Respect on her name. Okay, we got you. But now I do want to rewind because she started talking about how you helped her the other night with a speech that you gave her. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know, so just going back to being frayed at the edges, she made it there. And so it wasn't a speech as much as it was like encouragement to just disconnect, because you know, as much as we are all in a season of trying to remain productive despite the circumstances, maybe more so because of the circumstances, you still are only going to be as good at what you're trying to produce as you are healthy. And at that, you know, I think what I observed is just that she mentally and emotionally was not healthy. And so she just needed to, at least I thought, needed to disconnect. And so I think we try to give each other permission to do that, or at least an awareness that maybe that might be the best thing.
And I needed
at a moment
it.
In time, so
I needed it. I think one of the things that's been really easy to fall into when you are working from home a little bit more, the lines of like what is your home time and your work time become extremely blurred. So I find myself on the computer all day, like answering emails all day, being available all day. And Cleo is like, look, you don't work for Shelby County 24 hours a day. At some point, you're going to have to take a step back and put this computer down. He said it with a few more colorful words, but it was what I needed. But I really do think one of the things that is important now, as it always is for you to have a partner that will just tell you the truth and just hold you accountable to doing what you need to do. And he will do that.
That's good. Is there a certain way that you have to finesse the truth?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you've been with somebody for as long as we've been together, one of the things that you learn is how does the message have to be packaged?
That's true.
You know,
that's real.
There are, you know, you can't just default to your default settings. You really have to be mindful of how does that person best receive information? What does your tone of voice need to sound like? What's your lead-in need to be?
What's a lead-in? What's an example of a lead-in? See, I'm getting all these good nuggets for myself. They coaching me for when I get married.
A lead-in for me, I can tell that Dorcas like visibly softens when I go, you know, visibly softens. And I may not, right? And so her lead-in might have to be a little different for me.
Babe, what you want to eat? Oh, yeah, by the way. By the way.
Real simple. Just food.
Yeah, like I'm a caveman, right? Food. Woman, food. You know.
I got you a Stella and some pizza.
It's okay, whatever works. She's a smart woman. So that's good. So
yeah.
the lead in, and it sounds like, I know you guys have talked a lot tonight about grace and really making sure your partner's okay because there's so much going on. So it sounds like you really are paying particular attention to how you're communicating and engaging with one another right now. So that's
especially right now because there's not enough space, right? So if I have a tough day at work, if she has a tough day at work, I've at least got the car ride home to get myself right to be home, to be a husband, to be a father. But there is no car ride home right now, or at least not nearly as many. And so I think you got to check yourself a little bit more about what is it about you that if you are making things hard at home, what is that? What are you doing when you do that? And so I think being a little bit more thoughtful about the buttons that you press or the way that you present information that just might not be as helpful during a time like this.
You know, one of the things that Cleo taught me, he may not even realize that he taught me this, but in one of our philosophical conversations early on, he just talked to me about, you know, in this partnership and being married, like you cannot just default to, that's just how I am. You know, that's just how I say things. I'm just brutally honest. I'm just, you know, we have a whole lot of things that we say we just are. And when you're in a partnership, that's not good enough. Like you just cannot default to saying, I just express myself that way. Like you have to be considerate of the person that you're with. That's part of that's the cost of partnership. It's a cost, but the benefit that you get from doing this thing together is, I mean, it cannot be captured. It's just that great. But there is a cost. You have to lose yourself in order to really lose pieces of yourself that maybe you excused before if you really want to make your partnership work.
I don't even know if you have to lose yourself, but I think you have to more regularly be the better version of yourself.
That's true.
I think more regularly. So.
Yeah, no, lose yourself may be a little extreme because some people may be like, I'm not doing it. I'm not getting. I don't have to lose myself.
But no, you're right. If that's just the way I am, that is probably going to be just the way you get broken up with too. So
you're gonna just be by yourself, and you have to decide if that's what you want. Like if you want a partnership, you just can't just be whatever, fill in the blank.
That's so good. That's so good. So you guys have some questions. I've been answering the questions. I've been asking the questions. I'm sorry. And y'all been answering. So y'all got questions. Don't forget to keep dropping them in Q&A. Well, here's something I would like to ask you guys. So we talked a lot about being at home, and Cleo just alluded to there's no drive home. But I've heard so many wives and couples talk about, do you have to keep it cute because you're at home all the time, or have you just let it be what it's going to be? But what have you been?
I need to do better. I don't even want to talk about that because if I'm being transparent, I'm not doing well there. I got to do better. He used to tell me about scarves and what I wore to bed. And it's like, bro, I'm just trying to sleep. But got to do better.
You had to let that. I mean, but look,
Black women have to wear scarves.
I know.
Baby.
I've given up on that. I'm good with that. But like I had, 2 days ago, I could not remember if I had brushed my teeth. At the end of the day, I was like, I brushed my teeth today. So
you have to be ashamed. Why are you telling me? That's so shame.
So no, we, do our best, but I mean, we're hunkered down here. This is different. So a lot of grace right now.
Lots of grace.
Lots of grace. So listen, wives and husbands, you got to give your partner some grace. You got to give them some grace. Y'all know the salon's not open. They just opened. You don't want nobody going down there getting the COVID. So you're just going to have to deal with the bonus. Now, how many of you, we have some brothers out here too. Are y'all also tripping? By show of hands, you can use the features at the bottom. Are y'all tripping about these bonnets too? To bonnet or not?
You can get a cute bonnet, I think.
Okay. But I mean, what do y'all think gonna happen if they don't wrap this hair up at night?
Exactly.
They need a slap cap.
What is a slap cap?
You like, wait a minute, log on to the next segment. I can't get up and go get it. That would be so unprofessional.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah, so would you prefer a scarf, or would you prefer a slap cap, or would you prefer it be like this in the morning, man, it all up to the head? It's gonna be a mess.
Yeah, he does not want that.
You do not want that.
Not want
You do not want it. So he's giving her some grace. She's giving him some grace, reminding him if he's brushed or if he is not brushed. Because see, here's the deal. It's a real story. You're at home all day, your entire routine, because sometimes you're just in sort of just auto drive. You get up, you have a routine, but now your office may be the kitchen, or your office may be a spare bedroom or your den, and you are out of rhythm. If you have a 9 o'clock meeting, you can get up at 8:55, go in there and be like, Be
Right.
cute on the top, get professional on the top, and a mess on the bottom. Sort of like I am. But, but I mean, you got to give it some grace. Everything, you got to give each other some grace. I love it. Okay, so here's a question. What has this pandemic experience taught you about each other that you didn't know? And do you have any suggestions on self-isolation when you're getting on each other's nerves? So let's answer the first part of that. What has it taught you guys about each other that you didn't know?
That I didn't know.
I don't know.
I wouldn't say, I think, there's an old saying in sports that adversity doesn't develop character, but it reveals character. And I would just say that everything that has transpired over the last 6 weeks to 2 months is just about everything that I would expect. Everything that I've seen from Dorcas is what I would expect from Dorcas. This is as hard as anything that you'll go through professionally, socially, in terms of your networks and being disconnected from people, disruption of people's livelihoods and things of that nature. And so I think this is more just kind of, it's been a reminder of what Dorcas can be if things get really bad. And I've just watched her step up. I've watched her think about other people. I know this whole not being able to see her parents every day has been difficult, but she's even navigated through that with decently well. She's going through withdrawals right now, but
I still FaceTime them.
Yeah.
FaceTime.
But no, it really has been not as much what have I learned that was new, but more what have I been reminded of about Dorcas when things are at their toughest.
That's so good. So good. Dorcas, have you learned anything?
Maybe.
I can't follow that.
Okay, good.
You could.
I could, baby.
You could if you wanted to. If she had something good to say, she could.
And once again,
I can't follow that.
Cleo has
Convenient.
outshined her. Okay, Dorcas, you can take this. So have you found at any point that you guys have gotten on each other's nerves? And if so, how have you guys been handling that?
Which is
Yeah.
of course. Like,
Oh yeah.
if anyone tells you that they live together and don't get on each other's nerves, they are liars. It's just not possible.
Not possible.
I think how we manage it is probably how we've always managed it. Like I think we have unspoken safe zones in our house. And so Cleo is here, I'm here, and we do our own thing. We are good at giving each other space.
Yeah.
I think we're very good at that. Like, there isn't a whole lot of hesitation around space. So
Yeah.
we do that.
And I'm the chump in the relationship. So if things get,
He does, yeah.
if our level of discord gets out of my comfort zone, I'll be like,
Hey, baby.
Hey.
Yeah. Now that has been a bright spot in this relationship with him. Like, anyone that's a friend of mine knows that I am probably I'm the softie in our relationship, but I am the one that can hold out longer than him. He cannot stand. Oh, I'm sorry. He cannot stand for us to not be speaking.
That's not for everybody.
So now Dorcas, you're the softy, but Cleo has been stepping up. He's been stepping up too.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
It
terrible.
sounds like she started off giving herself a compliment, but we ended up that she's petty and can extend arguments. That's what it sounded like, Cleo.
That's what you took away because that's what I live. Yes.
Okay, I'm so
That's
sorry. I'm sorry, Cleo. I'm sorry. Well, guys, this has been so much fun. This has been so much fun. I appreciate you guys letting me explore our friendship and saying yes. No, Seriously,
We
thank
are grateful to be able to do this. This is
Yeah.
helpful for us. This
Yeah,
is like
it's been therapeutic.
free therapy. So thank you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
no, we have, I mean, there've probably been a couple things we've talked about in this, but most of this we've not talked about yet. And so I think it probably has been good for us to even verbalize some of these things that we kind of know are there, but no real space to actually just sit down and be intentional about talking about it. So as anticipated, this was therapeutic.
Wow, awesome. Well, I appreciate you all so much. You guys are family. Thank you for saying yes, because you certainly could have said no. I appreciate you. We appreciate all of you all that have joined us. But I need 2 favors from you guys before you log off. I happen to sit on the board of Women United of the United Way, and we have a campaign right now for the Salvation Army. We are doing 20 masks for $20. And I need you guys to help us keep those that are on the front line serving our community safe. So I need you to go either to the Health Gear Now. You guys can see my screen, right? You can go either to now.com and you can place that order for those, or you can text COVID relief to 91999. It's completely tax deductible. And if you're completely fortunate that you can do more than 20, hey, challenge yourself. Do multiples of 20. And let's get these masks to the folks that need them most so they can keep themselves and their families safe as they serve our communities. I appreciate you all so much. Do that. Make sure you share. If you're not following us on social media, we are at the Total Woman Summit and at Sherica Hymes. But thank you guys so much. We appreciate it. Thank you, Griffins. You guys have a lovely evening. I love y'all so much. And I will see the rest of you if you're joining us for the single version of this conversation with Coach Chris in about 30 minutes. Have a great night.
Bye, y'all.
Love you.